Coastal Championship Wrestling celebrating 19 years. Big anniversary show. Longest running indie pro wrestling promotion in Florida. One of the longest in the United States. And their CCW Women's Champion is Marina Tucker. Wow, this has been, and I say that, pun intended, things that you've been doing has just been incredible. And in WOW, as Penelope Pink, you've been really doing outstanding work there. But first, talk about CCW being a part of this big anniversary show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, CCW is just a staple. CCW, I say, is my home. I started here 4 years ago when the women's division was almost non-existent, and from the ground up, we built it, and there was a brand new title introduced, and I was very, very proud to be the first CCW Women's Champion back when the women's division started, and it's something I'm very proud of. I'm now a 3-time CCW Women's Champion, and just being here tonight for the anniversary show really just solidified what it means to be the last territory here in Florida.
Marina, how long have you been wrestling?
6.5 years, if you can believe it.
In that time, you traveled all around the United States. Have you done any other traveling as well?
Just the United States at this moment, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. My big one on my bucket list is going to the UK.
And the reason I say that too is because you've seen a lot of wrestling. And what are your thoughts about what they're doing here at CCW? Because this is so different. So many shows a month all over the state of Florida and even in Tennessee.
Absolutely. That's why we have coined the phrase the last territory for a reason. We run about 6 to 7 shows, multiple states, and you never know who's going to show up. I mean, it's just a wonderful promotion to work for. I'm so proud how much this women's division has grown. I mean, it went from like, are we going to have a women's match, to now every single person's knocking down CCW's door. It's absolutely fabulous. I keep saying it, you just never know what's going to happen. We've had war games, we've had cage matches. My cage match was #1. We've had ladder matches. Anything you could think of, it happens here at CCW. It's top notch. It's wonderful professional wrestling. And without a doubt, we put every other independent to shame.
What do you think too of the competitors that you've competed against and won the title in those matches? I believe Kylan King is someone that you're very familiar with. Yes. And also some of the talent that's come through CCW and that you've been able to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. This women's locker room has grown exponentially throughout the 4 years that I've been here, and that's something I'm very proud of. I love a close-knit locker room. I also love women who are going to come and bring it no matter what as well. Women's wrestling has grown since I started 6.5 years ago. It has done a 180, and to keep projecting it forward, that's my goal. I'm always looking for brand new competition, so if you think you have it, come on and step up to the Detroit Barbie. We'll see.
The Detroit Barbie, talking about Detroit City. It's amazing. Detroit Rock City.
That's right.
So what was it like for you growing up in that area, and were you into sports growing up?
Absolutely. It was tough. My parents were both Detroit police officers, and growing up in South Detroit, I literally like to think I'm the girl that's born and raised in South Detroit to a T. We were definitely very sheltered because my parents seen the worst of the worst. So it wasn't until I got older I didn't realize how bad it was and how much they sheltered us from it. But anyone who's from Detroit is a proud person to say they are from Detroit. I get it all the time. I get fans in my face. You're not from Detroit. I live in the town. That's the city limits. My name's Marina because I was born on the Detroit River. You don't get any more Detroit than me, and I'm very proud to be from that city.
All right, are we talking Pistons, Tigers, Lions, Red Wings? What are we talking here? What's the sport to go to?
Yeah, hockey without a doubt. The more violent, the better. And it is hard to be a Detroit fan. You know, the city has seen some interesting sports times, but hockey is definitely #1 without a doubt for me.
And now this is going way back, so this is my era, but one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, WrestleMania 3 in Detroit, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. So as you're studying pro wrestling and just getting yourself into this career, what do you think about the history of pro wrestling, even Detroit's history with pro wrestling? Because even way back in the day with the AWA, there was a lot of great wrestling way back then.
Absolutely. My dad used to talk about when he was in high school, he would go and set up at a place called the Yak Arena, and a big time wrestling would come. So he'd see the original Sheik, and you get to see and set up the ring. He would help set up the ring, and he was a skate guard for the hockey rink. So he was also on ring crew as well. So getting to see all that Detroit, they used to come to the Cobo Hall and all that as well. So wrestling in Detroit, and SummerSlam's there this year, and I bet it's going to be a crazy wild card as well. So without a doubt, as somebody who grew up in Detroit, I'm not gonna lie, I grew up watching WCW, which is like, what? Because I was from the North and I watched the Southern Territory wrestling, but Detroit has a rich history in wrestling, and I gotta say, it definitely helped. Wrestling is my earliest childhood recollection. I started watching it at 4 years old.
Marina, did you ever wrestle in Detroit?
I have not, but it's definitely on my bucket list to do one day.
And where did you train? Where did you start your training, and how did that start for you?
So I've trained at many facilities in the state of Florida. I've kind of bounced around all over together.
You decided to come to Florida, though?
Yes. Right when I graduated college, I went to school for sports broadcasting.
And where did you go, Marina?
Fair State University. We are like the Cinderella school, I like to call us. And I graduated, moved directly to Florida, and I bounced around from certain training facilities because I like to think you just can't learn all from one person. You're going to learn different sets, different psychology. I mean, you're going to click with certain people and it's just going to work, and sometimes it won't work with certain people. So I've gone many places. I like to say that I was trained by Alpha the Wild Samoan.
Oh, wow. WXW.
And, yes, WXW, Ricky Santana, and Chris Silvio as well. One of the longest reigning OVW champions. So I always like to bounce around, never stop training. You know, if you get complacent, you get left behind.
Well, if someone's not left behind, Marina Tucker. It's just so interesting. And just now, how do I address this part of it? Because you're very good at what you do, of course.
Thank
You're
you.
a champion. But not all the crowd likes you.
Oh.
Although you did have a nice sign, but there was a nice sign for you tonight.
That's
I saw
right.
that. That's right. So just how's the fan interaction? What is that like for you, whether they're cheering or booing for
Oh, I
you?
love it all. Give it to me all of it. Love me, hate me, throw trash at me. I love it all. Without a doubt, that's my job. My job is to give you a reason, whether you hate me, whether you love me. I mean, who couldn't? But whatever it is, love me or hate me, it's still an obsession. Give me all you got, because that's my job.
What made you decide, okay, I want to get into this crazy roller coaster profession?
You know what? My brother was watching it with my grandpa one day, and I just walked right into the room and fell absolutely head over heels in love with it. And like I said, earliest childhood recollection, and there's never been a time period in my life where I haven't watched wrestling.
Sting fan?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. It was WCW that was going there.
Yep.
Now, wow, Women of Wrestling, which we can see in South Florida, my area, it's on My-33. You can see it all around the country. It's syndicated. Jeanie Buss is involved with this, the owner of the Lakers. David McLane from the original G.L.O.W, of course. This has been his big project and all. How did you get to be a part of this, and such a big part of this, too?
Yes, it was the best experience ever, I have to say. So they were going to do a tryout in Miami, which I was going to attend. But I just so happened I did CCW in Hialeah, I did Bash at the Brew, and then I drove all the way to Atlanta, Georgia the next day, and I wrestled Selena Majors. And when we were done with the match, I was in the back with her, and she put on her WOW tank top, and I was proud to say that she came right up to me. And this is a cutthroat industry. Anything sports entertainment, anything on television, no one's friends. Everybody, you know, would slit their throat to get 1 inch higher than you. And in this industry, we're also told, you know, you're replaceable. You're just kind of the cog on the wheel. You know, someone coming up behind you is always younger, faster. Someone's always going to be better. And when I came up to her, she goes, "I got to talk to you." And I said, "Funny enough, I got to talk to you." And she looked at me and she goes, "We need you," which is one of the most humbling experiences I've ever, you know, almost hard to talk about. And a few months later, I got the phone call from David McLane and Lana Star that I was the next protege.
And that is so cool, working with Lana, who's been with them for a while, and another new team, Miami Seet Heat, the Carlson Twins. What has that also been like for you? Because it's something, you're part of a faction, like their top faction, I would say, on Wild Women of Wrestling. All women wrestling too.
Absolutely. I have known Miami Seet Heat, and without a doubt, it's really cool to create a faction. I like to honestly say that so many people are doing like the new school things in wrestling, and I feel like we're keeping it real old school, doing something that for women is not seen very often. And we are just always together. You know, the Fabulous Four, we're a well-oiled machine. We're always clicking. We're always training together. We work out together. Lana has us on a very rigorous schedule, so we're pretty unstoppable.
See, I was going to ask what your favorite color is to see what time, but I can even see it now what your favorite color is, so I won't even go there with that. So.
That's right.
Marina, I want to end it with your social media. Do you have for fans? Tell us what you got.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Marina25 or Marina Tucker, as well as Penelope Pink WOW on Instagram and Twitter.
And in closing, I will say this. Do you think, now I know with WOW, you're with Lana Star and that whole group, but maybe as Marina Tucker, do you think someday we might, if it hasn't already happened, see you managed by Dr. Eric Christopher?
Who's that?